Look at all that OLED goodness behind you. Look at the blackest of blacks. Look at those beautiful colors behind you. Imagine what a horse would look like on that. Imagine what a horse would look like on that. A horse. A horse. A horse. If it was a rainbow horse, it'd be popping out of the screen. Giddy up. Horse, you're luscious. Skip it up and down up. So this is something I have been saying for years now, is don't blame the developers of a game if a game comes out rushed and buggy. I even remember saying this back in like 2013, 2014. Blame the publisher because they're more concerned about making money than sending you out a quality product, and they assume if the game was heavily hyped that people will buy it anyway. Just deal with it until they send out patches to fix it because they want to meet quarters. They don't actually care about the consumer. They just pretend to so they could just take money out of your wallet. But it's not the developers. It's the publishers, like I just said. Well, according to Jason Schreier, who now works at Bloomberg, the devs are saying from CD Projekt Red for Cyberpunk 2077 that the publishers and the studio heads had unrealistic expectations, and that's why the game came out looking like and running like a steaming pile of crap on the 8th gen consoles especially. I know there's bugs on the next gen system since they're just running a backwards compatible version of Cyberpunk 2077, and I hear there's bugs on the PC, but it's the 8th gen consoles, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, especially the base consoles, that are the biggest culprit. This comes from GameSpot.com regarding Cyberpunk 2077. I'll read it to you, then we will discuss. Speaking to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, an anonymous member of the Cyberpunk 2077 dev team said a major issue stemmed from the game's engine being created simultaneously with the game. They likened it to putting down tracks in front of a moving train to keep it from crashing. I love that analogy. Instead of building the track first. The game's development didn't begin in earnest until 2016. Keep in mind they had that reveal trailer in 2013, despite being announced several years earlier, as most of CD Projekt Red continued work on The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is also getting a free next-gen upgrade for those who own the game on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, potentially pulling developers away from Cyberpunk. The game's state at launch would have been derided no matter what fans' expectations were. I don't really agree with that. A game crashing over and over again and simply not working properly will do that, but matters weren't helped by its marketing and E3 debut. The demonstration we saw at E3 2018 contained material that wouldn't be released in the final game, with the release date announced at the same time seen as unreasonable, according to the report. The anonymous employees who spoke to Bloomberg said they felt 2022 would be a more reasonable release window. For his part, studio head Adam Badowski disputed that these views represented most employees, but didn't provide anyone who contrasted with this opinion. So Adam, we see what the game runs like on the 8th gen systems. Who would have disputed that? Who would have looked at that? And it's the early parts of the game. So it's not like people got 90% through, then there was a bunch of bugs. Like, no, the bugs are right at the beginning of the game. Textures don't load in. Characters look like they're from GoldenEye 64 until the textures load in. Signs don't load in. The game just freezes to load more assets for like 20 seconds. I saw that on Digital Foundry and it just blew my mind. How, Adam, can you say that there's devs out there say, no, that's fine. That's fine. I totally believe them that 2022 should have been the year that the game was released. I've been saying at least 6 months to a year they should have waited. Look, people were already waiting 7 years for the game, 8 years for the game. What the hell would have another year or even more been the big deal? But it's not that the devs wanted to rush it out. It's the publishers. There was the hype. It was Christmas time. They wanted it on store shelves. And hey, if the game is broken, people will still buy it. They sold 13 plus million copies, and that number's from a while ago. And they included the returns. So that 13 million sold is after the returns. So the shareholders are happy. That's a successful game. They got their money. They don't care. Those shareholders are probably like, hey, man, I'm just worried about what's in my pocket now. I don't care if it ruins CD Projekt Red in the future. I don't think this will ruin CD Projekt Red. Don't get me wrong. But it's just gross. It's just gross you forced the game out. It's just gross you knew what the game was running like on the 8th gen consoles and you didn't care. And to say that, no, the developers were cool with the fact we got the game out. No, you're full of crap. There's no developer who would look at that game running on the 8th gen systems and say, yep, mwah, perfect, 10 out of 10, let's ship it. You're lying. You just wanted the money. And what sucks is that CD Projekt Red was seen as very pro-consumer. Now they've got a chink in that armor, and hopefully they could patch it back up, because once you're known as that developer, it just snowballs and gets worse and worse and worse. But maybe they'll make it up to us. Only time will tell. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoy my content, consider becoming a Review Tech USA member. I'll have a link below in the description. I live stream now on this channel all the time, and it gives you access to cool emoticons to use as well while I live stream. Again, link below in the description. Thank you for your continued support.